Alright, the first thing we need to do is find the Revit Architecture button on your desktop, which is the purple icon here, and double click on it. Once you double click on it, you'll come up to a screen like this. Yours will be slightly different because I've got some things preloaded. But what we're going to do is go to a new project. When I click on the new project, we have obviously the new screen coming up here. And we can see these things across the top here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a little L-shaped house here with 4 walls on it. So if we come up here and we look at the wall button, I can click on wall and it kind of changes my browser window over here. If you don't have these two browser windows, one, you always want this properties and you always want this project browser up. If for some reason you accidentally exit out of it and you say, Davies, I don't have it anymore, all you have to do is go up to View, go to User Interface, and turn both of them back on. And now they're both there. You will want these up all the time. They're in the beginning. People end up exiting out of them. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit my wall button, and it changes my browser here. What I'm looking for right now is that it shows me that I have a base wall of a generic 8 inches. Well, 8 inches, as we have found from our previous lessons, is too thick for a wall that we are going to build. So I'm going to go to Edit Type, and what I'm going to do then come up here and I'm going to duplicate this wall. One, I don't want a generic 8-inch wall. I'm going to call it 4-inch wall, and I'll hit OK. So I've renamed a wall that's 4-inch wall, but now it doesn't change the width of it yet. So now I got to go into Edit, and I'm going to change that 8 to a 4. So now I've got a 4-inch wall that is 4 inches. I'm going to hit Apply and OK. So I've got a 4-inch wall now. So now I'm going to come over here. Again, all I've really done is hit wall at this point. Chose my 4-inch wall. If you hit the down arrow, it gives you a bunch of different types of walls. But obviously the 4-inch wall is what we want. And I'm going to create like a 60 foot. I'm going to zoom in by rolling my middle mouse button. You can move it so it just says 60 foot, or you could actually type in 40 with the foot. So I'm going to make a 60 by 40. I'm going to come over 30 foot. Come in the 20. It kind of gives me that preview line there. And then I right clicked and hit cancel. So I've got my walls to the outside of my house, if you will. What I would like to do at this point is I'd like to be able to see what I have done, and I can already tell you that I screwed up one thing already. I didn't screw it up, but if I go to View, 3D View, here is my 3D view of the house I just built. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure I have the level 1 and the 3D view open up, so I'm going to hit this tile button, and then that will allow me to see my project in the 3D view and see my project in the level 1 over here. So right now I'm looking at level 1, and I'm then also in the 3D view. So I got both of these open on the same screen by hitting tile. And what I mean a minute ago by screwing up is I need to select my walls. You don't realize these walls right now are 20 foot tall. So I am going to drag a box around everything to highlight all of those walls, and notice that it says unconnected height 20 foot. Well, I'm going to switch that over to 8 foot, and when I hit 8 foot you'll see that they'll shrink immensely. So it wasn't necessarily a screw up. It's pretty easy to change, but you could also change it right away so it doesn't pop up to 20 again as well. So once again, now I've got all the outside walls in my piece. So now what I would like to do is be able to throw in some windows and doors on this project. So I'm going to go back up to the home window, and I'm just going to click on door. Now it gives me a default to a door right here, and if I click on the down arrow it gives me different sizes. Obviously a front door to a house, you'd want a 36-inch door because it's the biggest door and you're trying to move furniture in and out. But if you're going into like a bathroom door, a lot of the times maybe you only want 30 inches of room for that, so you're just saving space by changing the size of the door. So if I'm going to go ahead and use the 36 by 84 door, and I can come over here. I'm going to zoom in on it. I'm going to put my front door right here to my house. Now as soon as I clicked once, you notice how it gives me these arrows that are on the page. If I was to hit this arrow here, it should flip my door swing, or flip it back and forth whatever way that I want to go. So those arrows are important if you want to switch the things around. Notice over here that it automatically gives me my front door on my 3D view as I'm doing it. I'm going to throw in a couple of windows now, just the generic windows. I'm going to hit the window button, and again it's a 36 by 48 window. If I hit the down arrow, it'll give me different sizes that you may want. You could choose whatever you want at this point. I'm going to go with what the default is. I'm going to put in a window right next to my door. I'm going to put in maybe a couple windows here for like a front room, maybe a couple of them over here as well. And notice again that it automatically puts those windows in there. Let's say I wanted to switch this window right next to my door to be smaller because it's just one of those windows to see who's outside. So I could just select that window. As long as it's blue, I could come up here and say, no, I want it to be a 16 by 24, a little bit smaller, and it will make a smaller window for you. Notice how it did it there, and then you might have to drag it up a little bit. While it's still there, I'm going to go 24 by 24, maybe a little bit bigger. So now I've got a window next to my door. I've got windows around my house, etc., etc. So you can modify those windows. I'm going to try to find a sliding glass door to put back here for like a patio for later. So you've got to be in the door window first. You got to go to door. Once you're in door, click door. I'm going to load a family. Notice again, I would reiterate, you had to be in door first to load the family, and then I'm going to go to doors, and I've got a crap load of doors there. There's the door for like a closet, a bifold door, a double flush, a double glass. A double glass door may or may not be a sliding one, so I'm just going to find the one that says sliding. Sliding 2-panel. So I'm going to use a sliding 2-panel. It doesn't say glass on there, but it's good enough for us at this point. I'm going to hit OK, and it should change right here to a sliding 2-glass window, sliding 2-panel window. So when I come over here and touch my wall, it automatically creates my sliding glass doors there. I can do the same thing over here if I go to window and load a family out of a window. I believe there's a window button down here. I can click open on the windows, and they've got all sorts of fancy windows in here with some trim. You got those round windows. You just have to click on some different ones of what you'd want to see. So there's a round with a trim. I'll put a round one in. Like maybe I'll do it right here on what I'm going to consider my garage. See how it just gives me the nice round window. It's a huge window. So I'm just placing in windows. You can do both of those. One thing I want to reiterate, if you want to load a door, you've got to be in the door menu to go to load family. If you want a window, you got to be in the window to go to the load family. The reason why I say that is because when we start to load in furniture, after a while the furniture is in the components, and then we'll load furniture out of the components window. So just so you know. Last thing before we're done for the day is what happens if I exit out of this 3D view on accident. If I exit out of the 3D view, it's not that big of a deal. I can come back over here to my project browser, and it says 3D views 3D, so I have it stored already. All I gotta do is click on that 3D button, and the 3D button or the view will pop back up. If I go over to view and tile it, it'll put it right back to where it was at. Same thing if I exit out of my level 1, the flat view or the floor plan of it. If I accidentally exit out of it for whatever reason, I can come back over here and find floor plan level 1, double click on it, and that will be my floor plan of that particular thing as well. So now I've got my 3D one on the right and my floor plan one on the left, and I'm able to manipulate it and such. I'm going to go ahead and just section off a few rooms in this thing while we're at it. I'm going to go wall. I'm going to put in we'll go ahead and put that wall going across there. Maybe this will be like our kitchen and dining room area maybe. I'm going to go wall. Oh, look what I did. I made it a 20-foot wall because I haven't changed it. This is where I said I didn't really mess up, but if I was to come over here and hit 8 foot to begin with, I just dropped it down. But now when I go to my wall button, if I just change it to 8 foot now, I'll never have to change it again. So it's just one of those, it will automatically stay there if I do before I draw a wall. But if you don't, then it's just a pain in the butt later to have to change it around. So come back over here again. I'm going to section off maybe I got that window in there. I'll just drag one across. It doesn't make a difference of where we're going with it. I'll put another wall in there. So I've sectioned off the house a little bit now. So I've got a room here, a room here, a room there, a room there. So therefore, when we do some things later, we can do things. So at this point, you'd want to go up to the little down arrow here on the R. You might not be able to see that on the video, but down arrow on the R. Go to Save As. You're going to save it as a project. And then why don't you call it your last name. Click on Documents and make sure it says My Documents. Sometimes it defaults to just Documents, and that's not going to your file. Documents, make sure it says My Documents, and then last name, I don't know, Sample House maybe. That'll work. Davy's Sample House, make sure that you're in your files. I'm going to go to my desktop just because that's where I save all my stuff to. At this point, then we can hit pause and we'll be done.